Guys, give it up for the crew from Lower Decks.
Lower Decks. Lower Decks.
Lower Decks. Lower Decks. That was with you. It's crazy that we're here talking about season 5 because I feel like this is one of those shows. It feels like it just started.
I agree.
Yeah. Feels like only yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
It was 5 years ago here that I first met Tawny, and we first really all got together. It was here. It was 5 years ago. It does feel like yesterday.
Here in this room.
It was downstairs. We went and got a salad
6A.
and a drink.
I mean,
Get a salad. You remember
It definitely flew by.
yeah.
It flew by. It feels like we're getting started, actually.
It kind of feels to me like I've been working on it since 1996.
Oh, wow.
And now we actually got to do it instead
Yeah.
of me just having my little ideas. And here we are, and it's real. It's crazy.
Time flies when you're having fun. I mean, if you think back to the beginning of this journey, like this was, a new frontier on a couple different avenues, right? First animated, first comedy in the Star Trek universe. I mean, what were sort of like what were your expectations kind of going in, and sort of how differently or did things work out, or did you guys see this as something that was going to go 5 seasons? What can you say about
Throw in there, we weren't the first animated, right? There was the
way
animated
back in the
series
day,
way back.
first in like 50
And
years?
I was
or
thinking
something.
about that a lot.
Mike, I
Well-
can't believe you're being a actually
No,
internet guy.
well, actually, we thought about that a lot when we started, because I remember coming into this being like, I love the original animated series, but a lot of people don't count it as a Star Trek. And one of the things I said when we first started the first season was, I want us to count. Like, I want us to be a Star Trek that has to be talked about because it's so fun, it's so good, and it so sticks in a canon, and it feels like we accomplished that. Well, actually.
Yeah, no, you're right. When he's right, he's right.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of conversations do you guys have, especially as a cast, and finding these characters and finding the tone of the show? Because it is, so you couldn't necessarily compare notes with other things in the universe because it does feel so fresh and so original, while obviously, still paying tribute to the universe.
I mean, for me, it feels like the writing really dictates a lot of the tone, and it's definitely on the page. And then we do get directed, and that direction is very helpful. And then getting to see when we first started recording, we got to record with each other a couple times and see and
Which is
getting to-
unusual, right?
Yeah, and I think that really helped seeing the dynamic. But the characters are so strong from the gate that it's like kind of playing with the words on the page, at least for me.
I'm going to break a rule here. I'm going to talk about my process, everybody.
Wait, do
All
you
right,
not
here
like
he goes
that?
again. Process stuff. This is the first job I've ever had, and I've been acting for 100 years, where I look at my creator's face when I'm saying a line, and based on his facial expression, that's how I interpret and say the line. And I mean that. And I go off of Mike's facial expressions, and it has always worked. It is always good
Can you
stuff.
demonstrate for us?
Well,
Like, can you guys look at each
But
other
what's
and
funny
just do a line?
is, Jerry, part of your... Yeah, give me a line.
Okay, yeah, hey, I'm Ransom. Yeah, Ransom's here. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, Mariner again. Tendy, you know what you have to...
Wait, so now you're just acting.
Yeah, I got into it. You know what's funny is another part of Jerry's process is we like to do 3 takes and then maybe a couple extra takes. Jerry comes in on each line, gives us 145 takes. And then he's watching the whole time because he makes me laugh and he's changing it up. But Noel, it's so funny that you're like, it all starts on the page, because for me, it starts on the page, but then what you guys do, I always change the writing to try to match what you're bringing to it. And it is this
Dance.
this collaboration,
It's a
this dance.
collaboration.
Yeah, and we really, by the end of the first season, I really feel like we all clicked into place. And then everything after that felt so natural. And sometimes it takes longer to do that. But on this show, like, everybody got the assignment and we all just started having fun.
Well, Mike, you said it feels like you've been working on it since the late 90s. Obviously, you were on board in a much, much earlier phase. What sort of, how did the series sort of most dramatically evolve from, what the original game plan was to what it ended up becoming?
Originally, I was kind of playing with the idea of the bridge crew is expendable, sorry, Jerry, and that the lower deckers are the ones who survive. So the bridge crew is going to cycle out all the time, like how they used to do the reverse of the red shirts in TOS. And what struck me is that you can't really replace the family of the ship all the time like that. You can't create a home in space by cycling those people out. So what I realized was the Cerritos, the ship, is a lower decks ship. And the bridge crew, even though they are the bosses of our lower deckers, have to see themselves as lower deckers in the fleet. And once that came into place, the show just made a lot more sense to me.
What can you guys tease about? I know you have a spoilers list of things you can't talk about, but what can you tease about the climactic, the last season of Lower Decks for us?
Tawny, you have a cool episode with Lauren Lapkus.
I do.
Ooh.
I have a cool episode with Lauren Lapkus, who plays Jennifer the Andorians. We get some more closure for that relationship. This is very funny. I won't say the thing that's on the spoilers list, but it's very funny. I have a friend doing a guest spot this season, and for some reason she is on the please do not say this, that she's in it. And I texted it to her. I was like, why? She was like, girl, I don't know. My team be being weird. So I have a very good friend that I would love to shout from the rooftops is in it, but
I
for
was
some
just
reason
sitting
cannot.
here being like, I want to bring her up too, but we
And then I was
can't.
like, did it come from us or did it come
No,
from
it was
I
her
don't
team.
know.
They're being careful.
It's great, but
Yeah.
I love when my friends pop up on the show.
That's a tease. Tawny's friends in this season. Very
yeah,
exciting
comb
stuff.
through my contacts,
Okay.
hack my phone, see who's my friends with.
I'll give you a good little spoiler. You see, everyone grows. Everyone hits a new milestone.
He's right. By the end of the season, it feels like the end of a chapter because they're all still lower decks, but they all have moved forward in a way that's pretty unexpected. And it's really cool.
How about Tendi?
Tendi, we get to see her fully embracing being back on Orion, and we get to see her adventures evolve as she's trying to get back to Starfleet.
Okay.
Yeah, and that plays out in such a great way, and you get to it definitely plays out in a way that I think people will be very excited about.
Mike, it feels like as this series has progressed, without losing any of its edge or humor, you've kind of dove more into sort of quintessential Star Trek adventures. Was that always the plan, or was that something that sort of like naturally evolved once you built these characters out and these voice actors built these characters out and you saw they can handle sort of the traditional aspirational Star Trek adventures?
Yeah, I think actually from season 1, that was the goal. We were always taught, we called it playing the hits, right? Like, what are the hits of Star Trek? That's why season 1 has a trial episode. That's why there's a holodeck malfunction. That's why the season finale of season 1, the one last thing we hadn't really played yet was an episode that meant something. And the finale is a kind of a big metaphor about the world at the time and the rise of fascism from people taking their eye off the ball and how you have to be vigilant about that stuff. So like, I think actually it was the opposite. As the seasons went, we started becoming more comfortable with the show without playing the hits of Star Trek and being ourselves. And so instead, we would play a Star Trek type episode. We'd write a Star Trek type episode, every once in a while. But over time, we just got to understand what Lower Decks was and what we could do with that.
We just had the Prodigy crew in here. We were talking about the emotional roller coaster
Were
that
they
they
more
went
fun
through.
than us? We haven't had lunch yet. Were they more fun?
No, you guys are
Okay.
way better.
No,
Way
it's
better.
not a competition.
Yeah.
I just want to be as fun.
It's
You guys
not.
are
We
as
did
fun.
win the non-competition.
You
though, which
did,
feels
you
good.
did,
They're
you did.
great.
But we were talking about the emotional roller coaster, and obviously that looked initially like it was really short-lived. They had one season, and then the fans really stepped up, and Netflix stepped up. But could you guys see another life for Lower Decks at some point? I mean, people love this show. Nobody wants to see it go away.
Why not? We could play
Absolutely.
these parts till we're 75, and who cares?
And you
Like,
could in the Star Trek universe. These
can.
characters are never going to die.
Absolutely. I keep saying we won't let Patrick Stewart sit down. Like we won't let his ass rest. Like let's do
Yeah.
this forever.
I mean, I think like we got a 2-season pickup from the very get-go, right? And after that, it was complete question mark unknown. So the fact that we just got to do our 5th season and got to do it the way we wanted in an awesome, like it feels like an awesome celebration. And yeah, it's our final season on Paramount Plus, and Paramount Plus has been amazing partners. Like we love working with them, and they're so supportive. Like they chant Lower Decks with us. Like they love it, right? Our number one focus right now is we cannot wait for people to see this show later this year. And we already have comics. We already have. Of course, we're always talking about. There's been backdoor pilots in Star Trek since the first season of TOS. You know what I mean? And for us, we're embracing this as like it is a celebration. It is a final chapter of what we've done so far. And if we take a little break and then we come back, we could do more seasons. I'd be happy to do movies. I would love to read more
Birthday parties.
Yeah.
Puppet shows.
I'd like to read
Christmas
some
specials.
more nasty
Yeah.
fanfic. I'm not seeing enough fanfic out there. You guys are getting a little lazy on the fanfic. So yeah, I would do Lower Decks forever. I love it.
It also doesn't feel like sometimes you get a sense of like, oh, this is over.
Yeah.
Doesn't
feel that way, right?
It doesn't feel like that, at least now, maybe because we have the whole season ahead of us, but I haven't gotten sad yet.
Yeah, we're still
Yeah.
like excited for people to see this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
So.
And also Paramount Plus, it's like Oprah's favorite things. Like you get a spin-off, you get a spin-off, you get a spin-off, you get a spin-off. You never know.
Yeah.
We might get a spin-off.